Next item is citizen participation. We do have one citizen who has commented, so I'll read the, do you want me to read the normal language, or do you want me to read the board participation notice that went out? President Barry.
Let's read what's on the agenda, the normal.
Okay, all right. Citizens wishing to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items for action can complete a virtual blue card that will be posted at noon on Monday, April 13, 2020 on the district news website at First Bell, dearbornschools.org. Forms received by 7:10 will be read by the board secretary. The board may not be in a position to respond to non-agenda items. Therefore, speakers should not anticipate an immediate response to their comments or questions. For the benefit of all concerned, do not mention the names of students or school district employees. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. The board president reserves the right to limit times. This comment is from Mrs. Baydoun, and it is quite succinct. It's a non-agenda items. May I proceed to read it?
Please do so, Madam Secretary.
Hello, I am the parent of an AP student, and we are finding it very difficult to keep up with all of the new work. How is my student expected to learn herself new AP material? I understand virtual learning is not ideal for any student. However, it is not fair for these students to have to teach themselves new difficult material. Not everyone has someone at home that can help teach material that advanced. What plans do you have for continuing the school year and grading? As I'm writing this comment, the future plans for the district have not been released. However, in your planning, I hope that you are thinking about these students. I understand grades hold our students accountable, but it is not fair for them to be graded on things they had to learn outside of the classroom. Please consider this when making future decisions for our district. That is the comment.
Thank you. Dr. Malik, would you want to comment on that?
Yes, thank you, President Barry. Thank you for reading it, Trustee Lane. So what I would comment on that is, we are in an unprecedented time. And as I mentioned in my opening statement, we had to put this together in a short order. According to the continuity of learning plan, our team is already working on it. We cannot make it public yet because it hasn't been approved. It hasn't been submitted yet to the Wayne County RESA, but we are taking all those things into consideration. We totally understand that we need to support students. It is going to be challenging because we do have to reach out online and other methods. However, what I can assure you is that part of the plan that's going to be submitted to Wayne County RESA does account for that, supports for students. Whether that be, we have different options for that. That can be via electronic, that can be phone calls, that can be emails, that can be many other forms of communication that is not direct in person. We're not allowed to be in person with the students in the home, or we can't have the students come in the building, but we can do things through multiple electronic methods, and that's what we plan to do. Again, it's going to be challenging, and we recognize that, and I think our great team is working on it. It is going to be part of the plan that we are going to submit to Wayne County RESA. Hopefully it'll be submitted by, if not Wednesday, by Thursday of this week, and we hope to get it approved. Once it's approved by the ISD, we will be able to make it public, and it will take all those things into consideration. And I appreciate Ms. Baydoun for bringing up the comment. And this is something our team, all the executives see it. But I can tell you that this question has come up, and what we want to do within our plan is we want to make it so we don't harm students as much as possible on any end. And so when we come up with a grading solution, we're also planning to take that into account. I can't comment yet publicly on what that'll be because, again, it hasn't been approved, but I can tell you there are multiple. Right now, I got to tell you, the executive directors and the board knows this. They've seen the draft of the plan that has gone out, and they've been meeting, multiple meetings. In fact, today they just had a parent meeting. They've had meetings with administrators, teachers. They took their spring break, which was supposed to be their spring break, and they were dedicated to the time. So we understand it. I want to tell Mrs. Baydoun and all the parents, and we recognize the challenges that will be there. But again, as I mentioned in my opening statement, learning is not ended, and we will be there to support her student, her child, and all children in Dearborn schools. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Trustee Thorpe, do you have a comment?
Question for Dr. Maleko, as you mentioned approval of the continuity learning plan. Is that something that this Board of Education will need to approve along with Wayne County RESA? I'm sorry.
No, No, my understanding is that the only approval, and I did send it to you all for feedback, the only requirement is that the board has an opportunity to provide input. That's in the governor's order, but the only approval that actually will be through Dr. Lipa through the ISD per the governor's order. In fact, the state doesn't even get involved. All they do is then record it once the ISD approves it. So the approval method is to go to Dr. Lipa. I have a close relationship with Dr. Lipa. I've been meeting with him, as the board is aware. Every week we have meetings. I'm in constant communication. So myself and my team, because my team goes to the Wayne County RESA, we have the Achievement Executive Directors of Achievement that go in the instructional area. So we're really close to them. We know exactly what's required, and we have all of those considerations were taking place. And so the board will not officially have to approve it, but right now you have that opportunity to provide input per the governor's order. And so appreciate the comment.
Question, Trustee Bear.
Trustee Moser, please.
Dr. Maliko, you mentioned parents making inputs to this plan as well as teachers. So can you elaborate more on how are we doing that? How are we soliciting parents' input as well as the teachers? Are the teachers being asked to provide input as well before this is submitted to the ISD?
Yes. In fact, today we went through the PTA to coordinate a meeting. Dr. Choko reached out to Ms. Hyder from the PTA. And so there was a representative group, a list, and I don't have the names in front of me, but several individuals met just this evening as we were planning for this board meeting. So I don't have a report yet on how that went. There were multiple meetings that were going on over the last week and a half plus. Our team got on it. As the governor was announcing the order, they were already starting to draft it. And there were multiple meetings with teachers, principals, with the instructional cabinet, with union heads that have occurred over the last week. They're all in the calendar. And I do believe that Dr. Choko listed it in that board document that says the one that we've been sharing relative to COVID-19. So it's got some of that listed in there. And so it's been very busy. And again, I'll credit the team because they did it during their spring break as well. And so that is the main way. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to just put out surveys in that because we're under a time frame. So we have to get input, but we can do it in the best of our ability. But it's nothing we could just put out for everyone publicly because we have a deadline that we have to fulfill to get the plan going. So that was the best way that we felt would allow. And it doesn't require parent input, but the way we are, even though the governor's order didn't, that's how we operate. So we went and we reached out to our parents to try to get some input. So thank you for hopefully that answers your question.
Yes. That did, thank you.
Trustee McDonald, please.
I just have a comment. I wanted to say that I think that it was wise of the governor to put in her plan that the approval would go through the ISD because that still gives somewhat local control over the plans because the ISD has more of an idea of what the district in that locality needs and what's good for their students. So I just think that was good on her part to make it that way instead of going higher than the ISD.
Trustee Petrikov, please.
Yeah, I have two questions. One regarding the input that you gathered. Was it across all grade levels? So you had parents who were across the spectrum of elementary, middle, and high school, and staff?
Yeah, and I'm going to ask Dr. Choko to chime in, but my understanding is, yes, she did get parents from all levels. If she's able to log in, go ahead, Dr. Choko, and David, maybe you can have her because she can give you more of the detail. But we did, and then we had committees at elementary, middle, and high with the teachers. The order from the governor does require staff input, teachers, and board input. So those are things that we were very careful to make sure. But I'm pretty sure that we had multiple individuals from the parents from the different levels from the list. But I'd have to have Dr. Choko verify that. I don't have that information right in front of me.
And then the other piece of this is, traditionally, we have a statewide requirements that for the grading systems and graduation requirements that are consistent throughout every district. This being done at just the ISD level of approval for this continuity plan, are they at least conducting some kind of identifiers, some markers through the State Board of Education or something that everybody can kind of agree is a minimum of requirements that they should be trying to attain or look for, so that we know that as we move these students forward, either graduating them out of high school or moving them to the next level, that we can be a little more assured that they're all kind of at the same place as best as can be. I mean, we know that all districts are not equal anyhow, but is there something where there's some kind of consistency of uh, requirements at all, or is this all just going to be stopped at the ISD level and that'll be it?
Yeah, in all honesty, at this point in time, it's really up to us working with the ISD. There is no direction of consistency in the order. Having said that, we have asked for some consistency because I've been meeting with the county superintendents. And so I do have meetings with them. And so we've been trying to coordinate our efforts with all the superintendents and with the executive director levels. So that's the way, but that's voluntary. That's not a requirement. That's something we're doing. The other thing that I am doing is that I know that the board's aware I'm on the online learning committee with Dr. Rice, who published a document. He also invited me to participate on his graduation requirement committee, which is about COVID-19. Now that will not, I don't know that that will necessarily put anything in place this year, but it would long-term, as I think Trustee Lane said, well, what about future years and things? So that committee, we're going to get together. It may have some recommendations, but it doesn't have any authority. The state really has no say right now, legally, according to the governor's order. It comes down to the district under our policy. And you're aware that we have higher credit requirements than the state minimum.
Yeah.
And it'd be up to us to then just send that plan into the ISD. And then, to be honest, that's how the approval will be. And I think part of it is they wanted to have local control because there is differences within communities across the state of Michigan. And given the current crisis, I think that's how the governor had broadcast the order so that local districts could make those decisions. Again, I think it makes sense for me and our team to create that consistency with Wayne County RESA, but I can tell you there is going to be still some diversity of the plans even within the county. I can tell you I'm confident though that our plan is we were on top of it and we were far ahead of things going forward. Our team got on it right away, and as you know, Dearborn tends to lead the way in a lot of areas. In fact, Troy Patterson and Amy Gwiz are also on a state online learning committee. So we should feel proud that our district, they continue to seek us for information. And I do see Dr. Chokol did pop in.
Yes,
so she can probably answer a little more. See, we had that plan in place just in case we needed an executive. They're ready and on call.
Sorry, Dr. Chokol.
Yeah, they weren't on vacation tonight. They're working. So we work them hard.
So as Dr. Maleko had said, the team got together right away after the order and the guidance was given, and we know that collaboration was a very important part of the plan. So Instructional Cabinet, which is composed of central office department chairs and consultants, has met every day, sometimes twice a day. We also, even though it was spring break, we put the word out, and we were able to get principal volunteers and teacher volunteers to dedicate some of their time during spring break to preview the draft plan, give us feedback, give us suggestions so that we could put those suggestions in the plan to make it a stronger plan. So on Tuesday, I think that was the 7th of April, the administrators spent about an hour and a half on the phone with Instructional Cabinet going through the draft of the plan and giving us feedback. On Wednesday, there were probably anywhere between 20 to 30 teachers in each of the grade bands. We met with a K2 group for about 90 minutes, teachers from grades 3 to 5 for 90 minutes, teachers from grades 6 to 8 for 90 minutes, and teachers from 9-12 for 90 minutes each. And among and across those groups were representatives from all schools across the district, members of the English learner department, as well as members of the special education department. So our special populations were certainly represented. And taking all of that into consideration, we met again the next couple of days to further refine the plan, and then put the word out to parents to say, hey, parents, we want, to hear your feedback. What are your concerns? What are your questions? What are your priorities? And we reached out to Ms. Nofila Hadar, and she organized a group of parents who we met with remotely. Of course, all these meetings were remote. We met with them for about an hour and a half just this evening. So the combination of that has given us a lot of great input, and we're currently finalizing the exact recommendations that we're going to put in our plan, because as Dr. Maleko said, our goal is to submit this mid towards the end of this week.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate all the extra effort. It sounds like you touched everything you could possibly touch it in this short of a time frame to do something. It's kind of like a Herculean kind of lift here to get something ready to go as quickly as you did for the size and diversity of our student population that we have. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we appreciate the administrators and the teachers again who gave up their time and volunteered, to do this during a time that they were looking to relax. So it was truly
well. They didn't get their cruises in this year, so
no, nobody did. Sad to say.
Great,
I had
thank
to
you
say.
very much. Trustee Lane?
Yeah, the question addressed, and Dr. Chokal has covered very broadly, and I appreciate the continuity of learning plan. The question addressed AP specifically, and AP is run by the college boards. They're independent, and although the teachers give the grades, it's the college boards that actually grade the exams. Now, I've read, and Dr. Maleko or maybe Dr. Chokal know, I don't think the college boards are going to be giving the AP exams. Normally, they're given at the beginning of May, the first few days in May. I think I've read that there will not be any AP exams this year. So the next question for AP students will be, what will their university or college do with I know in the past what they did is if you had a 3, 4, or 5, they would give you college credit. At this point, I haven't seen anything on what they're going to do. So if a student goes to U of M, whether they'll take that or not, who knows? But I don't think they're sitting for the exams. I wanted to ask also, do we have a plan in place yet for dual enrollment exams? And what are we finishing out with the dual enrollment students as well?
Well, we have been informed that the advanced placement tests will be administered online. And so they are changing the format. Now, I don't have up-to-date information on the timeline for that, but I have heard Dr. Patterson handles the majority of the communication regarding that. And Mrs. Peterson is certainly our secondary expert, but we have heard that the exam type will change somewhat. But that those exams will be administered. And of course, our dual enrollment classes for students attending courses at Henry Ford College, all of that coursework has gone online. And so those courses will continue as they would have had students been in session. Obviously, the facilitation of that is going to be different.
Great, thank you very much.
Actually,
Trustee
President
Moses?
Barry? Yeah, my sister is at Edsel Ford, and I talked to her about, she's taking 2 AP courses, and she was telling me the same thing, that they are planning to take the exam online, and the information that she received from the college boards is that it's going to be very condensed. Mm-hmm. I believe that the district also has, Dr. Maleko, do we have some way of preparing, and Dr. Chokal, so these students for these exams and the different now versions, or what they should expect?
Well, I could just comment that we'll go back to the committee and with the teachers, and that's why I think it's so important that you have teacher input, because those teachers are trained as AP teachers, and so we'll have to provide them with support. And I guess as we get that information, and Dr. Chokal and or through Dr. Patterson, as he receives that info, we'll make sure that we do what we can to support our students.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get an update in a brief. We have heard that the test content will be more multiple choice, rather than content that has been tested differently previously. But we'll get to a more expanded definition very soon.
Okay, great. Mrs. Baydoun, I thank you for that question. I'm sure we answered it, but if you are listening, please email us your first name and your address just for our records. Appreciate it. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Next item are action items. Special consideration of an action item. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? If they are, we will exclude these from the motion below.
Anyone, raise your hands. Trustee Lane?
Number 3, I thought we were going to pull number 3. It's on the cameras.
We have we have an updated agenda.
We have a memo that's been updated. That was previously before city relations, but it was not part.
Trustee Lane, we did pull that item.
Oh, okay.
You're looking at the old agenda?
Yes, I am. So that's what I'm asking. Is 3 being pulled?
No, 3 is now a new, they renumbered.
Yeah, we have.
3 is now approval of the Southwest Food Service.
Okay.
If you don't mind, let me take it over from here, if you don't mind.
Well, I still have a question on it then also.
We're not even gonna discuss it at this point. It's gonna go back to committee, then we'll go from there.
Okay, so if you want to take,
It was pulled, no, because the changes, you're looking at the old agenda, everything's changed right now. Just give me,
It's no longer on the agenda item.
yeah, I understand. I don't know what number.
that's what I'm saying, let me take over this
You
part.
can take
and
over,
let's
yeah,
get back.
if you
Yeah,
want to. Yeah.
okay. Are there any agenda items that Dr. Malik wants to pull?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Great. All right, at this time. Recommended action. Move that action items numbered 1 through 13 be approved as recommended in this agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Support.
Okay, the motion was moved by Trustee Petrikov and supported by Trustee Moser. All right. So we are gonna go. Are there any comments? I'm looking for hands here or questions on the action items. Trustee Moser, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make a quick comment on item number 3, and I'll just be clear on what number 3 is. It's the renewal of Southwest Food Service Excellence Management Contract. So last year, we got into a contract with this company. It was a 5-year contract, 1-year renewal. So what that means is every year, we will look at how they're doing, and we will renew the contract. So this is number 3 right now, Trustee Lane. We have 4 more years on this contract, and all we are approving right now is just another year. If you saw the last board meeting, the board was very satisfied with the job that this company is doing, and we very appreciate what they're doing. I know in the beginning there was some glitches, but we've overcome those glitches, and we're very happy, and the administration is very comfortable recommending another renewal. So at this point, we'll go into voting. Let's do a roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
I'm too quick on my mic. Okay, I've got it. Lane, yes. McDonald,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Mosop,
Yes.
Petchlokoff,
Yes.
Thorpe,
Yes.
President Barry.
Yes, please attach a unanimous roll call vote to the motion. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Discussion item, 30-minute time limit. There are none. Next
Real quick,
item is Board of Education business, acknowledgement of correspondence.
Trustee Thorpe?
do you need to do a quick recap of the?
Yeah, read the summary.
Oh,
and
Yes, thank you for catching that. Yes, I'm sorry.
what else Other than Trustee Lane, if she's working on an old agenda.
Let me, okay, so, yeah, let me go ahead and read them, Trustee Lane, if you don't mind, Madam Secretary. Okay, summary of agenda action items. Thank you, Trustee Thorpe, for catching that. Number one, approval of warrants. Number two, approval of contract with Plant Moran. Number three, approval of Southwest Food Service Excellence Management Contract Renewal per Board Report 19-112. Number four, approval of contract to Uliance. Number five, approval of contract to 360 Fire and Flood. Number six, approval of contract to Nagel Paving Company. Number seven, approval of contract to Lutz Roofing Company. Number 8 through 10, approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P through 12. Number 11, approval of finance statement. Number 12, approval of policy updates / changes for Board Report 19-117. And number 13, approval of donations. Now we'll go to next item.
I think Trustee McDonald had her.
That's for the next item. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I did have a question on former item number 3, which was security cameras. May I ask that now, or do you want me to ask it in future agenda items?
Ask them to the future agenda items, please.
Okay, all right. Acknowledgement of correspondence.
Trustee McDonald?
I received a phone call from a local citizen who was concerned about the use of one of our parking lots by a local business. That it turns out that was approved by administration, but I want to thank her for reaching out with her concerns, because it is important that if you see something that looks unusual, that you contact us, so we're able to take a look at it and make sure that there isn't something going on that shouldn't be going on. So again, I thank the citizen for her contact.
Thank you. Anybody else? Next item, please.
Board member committee and organization reports.
Trustee McDonald?
We were originally scheduled to have a superintendent's committee meeting, superintendent evaluation committee meeting tonight. That had been canceled, but I had sent out an email. I just wanted to make sure everybody received it, that I have pushed up the date for your evaluation forms to be completed. I believe most of you have sent me back saying that they did get that email. I wanted to push it up a week. So instead of being due on April 30th, that they are now due on April 23rd. That will just give a little extra time so that the information can be compiled. We'll have time to meet in closed session with the superintendent, and then we'll present the information from the evaluation at the next board meeting to the public.
I believe that was it. So next item, please. Thank you, Trustee McDonald.
Board member committee and organization reports.
We just covered that.
But I had a question on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Trustee Lane?
We had the security cameras, and as I mentioned, that the memo which Mr. Wall prepared over the weekend, thank you, Dr. Maleko, said that it had been discussed previously in city relations. My question is, does anyone know, we know that we can close for security issues. So if we go into a meeting and we are talking about those, can we meet with the members of the city and the college, all of us in a closed session? So my question is, can multiple elected bodies meet in closed session for the appropriate reasons enumerated under the Open Meetings Act?
Let me get that, Dr. Maleko, please. Yes, Trustee Lane, I believe that, yes, we can. And my recommendation was to send this back to committee to see, what you and your committee come up with. Then we would probably move. And if we had to, yes, we can go into closed session, because that's what the state legislature voted on last year. Does that answer your question? Do you want Dr. Maleko to further comment on that?
I guess the answer is, I'm assuming that our committee can meet in closed session on a security issue. Can we meet in closed session? Bringing in anyone from the college and city officials as well.
My understanding is just President Barry, is that when you go into closed session, you are allowed to have what would be considered experts. If you needed somebody to come in, like we have lawyers in when we have a closed session for litigation purposes or whatever, I believe you could probably use that if you needed to have a conversation with some other groups that were impacting the subject matter.
Yeah, let me clarify what I meant. This issue would go to committee, the City Relations Committee, and once the recommendation comes back from the committee, what I was saying is that if we go into closed session, it would be the full board, and yes, we can invite whoever is going to come in and counsel us, advise us. It may be the chief or whomever. When I say closed session, because it does fall under security, it would be the whole board at that point if we wanted to.
Well, I guess I was asking whether we can go in, as a committee, can go into a closed session with members of another body, for example, city administration.
I'm going to refer that to Dr. Maleko to check with our lawyers to get an answer
Yeah.
for us.
I will do that. Thank you, President Barry.
Okay, so there's nothing else. Let's go on to the next item now,
Board member, superintendent commentary.
please. Anybody? I don't see any hands. Trustee Thorpe?
Yeah, I'd like to keep things brief. I made comments earlier today that I shared on social media, thanking many groups for what they've been doing. Dr. Maleko did a great job with it earlier, but I just wanted to again reiterate for the seniors, I can only speak for myself, but I feel that the board wants to do things to help you out, at least as individuals, if we can't do anything as a group. Try to make things a more normalized situation for those graduating seniors. And also we've got employees that are going to be retiring, and this is not the way they expected to end their employment with us. So you are definitely in my thoughts as we get closer to the end of what would have been a regular school year.
Trustee Lane, do you have any comments?
Did you ask me?
Yeah, Trustee Lane, do you have any comments?
Just echoing somewhat Trustee Thorpe's comments, I know that the seniors are disappointed. We are in historic times, and nobody imagined that they would be in this situation. But besides their celebrations, I want to urge them to apply for the scholarships. Dearborn Education Foundation has scholarships. That we just got another one from the American Business Women's Association. And another concern that I have is that because of the economic uncertainty, a lot of seniors may have to alter their plans as far as going on to four-year universities. Some seniors are expected to forego enrolling in colleges and maybe take a gap year. That's a personal decision, but I would encourage them to try to take, if they can, apply for FAFSA. It's a whole different world now. And even if they had planned to go somewhere else, they can get some classes at Henry Ford College. I would urge them, even if their situation has changed, to try to push themselves forward.
Okay, great, thank you. Trustee McDonald?
Although we're not congregating, we are celebrating. We're celebrating, like everyone has said, our retirees, our student success, we're in their graduation. There's a lot that this district has to celebrate, and just how all of our employees have stepped up and really taken on this challenge at such a difficult time. So I just have to say that I am proud to be part of this district, part of this community, and everything that this community stands for and does. One other thing I just want to mention that I saw in the news, and it just kind of all the bad news that we have, it kind of warmed my heart a little bit. I know some of you have probably seen the maps from the satellite that show how the air is cleared. Well, I saw in the news that you can actually see the Himalayan mountains from parts of India that you haven't been able to see them in decades. So just there is a little bright light behind this dark phase that we're going through.
Great, thank you. Trustee Mosib, I'm just going through the,
Okay.
Sure. Thank you, President Barry. I just want to mention that in the past 2 weeks, I've been very involved at my workplace developing a study. I'm on the technical side for the serology study, where Beaumont is heading this amazing study to get some antibodies and plasmas from COVID-19 survivors to current patients, and they're starting with their own employees. This is going to be a breakthrough throughout the nation. So to keep those numbers down, I want to reiterate that we want to definitely stay home. This is how we're going to flatten the curve, and making sure that we don't visit, especially elderlies. I have my parents right across the street, but I've been keeping myself at home and making sure that to save their life, I have to stay home as well. So I commend everybody, the majority, 99% of the people who are complying with the law. And I'd like to tell those who are not, who are violating, that the state law is very stiff. It's a misdemeanor to violate the law, as well as a $1,000 violation for each person. So I wish everybody would comply so we can save as many lives as possible. Hospitals, unfortunately, right now are at their capacity, and we are seeing the numbers going down. And I'm really hopeful for the next few weeks to be weeks of hope, and hopefully flattening the curve after this huge epidemic that hit the entire world. To the seniors, I'd say congratulations. To those who got accepted to many universities. Every day we receive the news of some students getting accepted to as high as even Ivy League universities. So congratulations. Any student who will pursue their dreams going forward, congratulations. Doesn't matter what you're going to go, making sure that you have a plan to go forward. And if you haven't applied, as Trustee Lane said, Henry Ford has great programs for you. So please check them out at their website at hfcc.edu. So I'd like to close by saying that we're in this together, and we're going to get through this together. And I appreciate all of the teachers and all of the staff members who have stepped up and joined together to support our students and to support one another, and be a model for the nation. So thank you so much. And special thanks to Trustee Barry for your leadership, and my colleagues, as well as Dr. Maliko and his cabinet.
thank you. Trustee Mead?
I'd just like to begin by saying thank you for not visiting this old man. And secondly, I would really like to send my regards to Dr. Chokol and her and her colleagues for this wonderful continuity learning plan. It is so comprehensive, and it will be exactly what our students need to continue their learning. This was a huge effort by an awful lot of people, and it showed how intelligent and bright these people are, helping our students to be educated. My hat off to them. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Trustee Petrikov?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is actually kind of a question for Dr. Maleko. I know, because I also feel for the graduating seniors who are missing out on so many of those important moments that are traditional to students. They're not getting their prom, they're not getting their sports awards, all kinds of their honors ceremonies. Did they at least have an opportunity? I don't know what the timing is. I can't remember. It's been a few years since my girls graduated, to have ordered their tassels for this year, for that would have gone on their caps, because I would like to at least make sure that these students, because you know what, that's something that's a memento of the year that you graduated. And if we can get them their cap and tassel and maybe a t-shirt that says I graduated with COVID, 2019 and 2020. I don't know, because they're not going to get to celebrate the way they deserve for all the efforts they put in for these numbers of years. But I'd like to make sure that they at least have something. I mean, we're all going to remember 2020, but I'd like them to have something to remember it that is a normal kind of tradition that every graduating senior ought to be able to walk away with from their years of school. So that's what I would really like to, I would really appreciate that we can make sure that we can help them with that if there's a way to see that move forward.
Dr.
So
Malik?
that's,
Sure. Yeah. So my understanding, and I'm not sure about the tassels specifically, but the graduation outfits have already been ordered and we're on the way. And we told them not to, cancel them at this point in time. But I will have to look into the tassels. But I believe that would be part of it.
that
as
would
well.
be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I just said the same thing. So a comment came in, David, about graduation. And it's been coming into all of you, and Trustee Thorpe mentioned it and others. So I've been meeting with as I mentioned, with the advisory council, and I did ask them, I'm meeting with them again on Thursday to come up with ideas, of ways to recognize them. We definitely want to recognize them. And I think you kind of alluded to it. Well, if we take the positive view, this graduate, and I know it's disappointing, I get it, I totally get it. But we can also make the best out of it and just remember that the graduating class of 2020 will be one that we will always remember throughout our lifetime. They will not be like any other. And so if we can do a positive recognition, which we're going to some way or another, do that, we have to do those things to recognize this class. But this class will be in the record books in the history of the United States and, Dearborn, because you'll never have another, I would think you wouldn't have one like this in the future. So we definitely will do that. I'm looking forward to hearing from the advisory council on Thursday with some of more of their ideas. And I think some of you asked to join, so we're going to do that as well. So yeah, thank you for the question, and I'll confirm that with my team though.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because by the time everything probably opens back up and we're allowed to congregate in large numbers again, a lot of these students will be already moving on to their college experiences, so they won't be here to celebrate as a whole with their class members anymore. They'll be kind of off to their new lives. So I want to make sure that we don't let them walk away empty-handed. That would be very important.
I would
Absolutely.
just like to note, though, that every time has its trials. People that graduated at the beginning of World War
II.
World War II, some of those young men and young women went into the military before they could graduate. Yep. I remember at Fordson, one of the gentlemen walking then and getting his honorary diploma. Every time has its trials. I graduated, I was in school during the Vietnam War, and it was really difficult to think of so many young people getting out of school and then being draft eligible. So
yeah, I did too. The difference here, Mary, is that all of them are experiencing the same. It's not some. It's everybody. So I just like to make sure that we can have some tradition that we can acknowledge, because this is a little bit different than when it was just a portion of the students were experiencing something out of the ordinary. But I agree.
Dr. Malik, I know you answered Trustee Petrikov's question, but did you have anything under comments?
Yes, I had a couple of things. One thing came in from David. It wasn't officially through the blue card, but just to follow up, was about using Zoom. The district doesn't use Zoom because our official is Google Hangout. And the reason we do that is just because we have to worry with the technology. I just put out, and Trustee McDonald, you asked me about a safety social media. I put out a 1-minute video. And so we also have an obligation through our network to protect students. And so for us, for our district, that's our official platform. So that's why we would be using Google Hangouts to communicate with students. I also just wanted to mention the Ed Foundation and thank them. They stepped up right away, and those that want to donate, they do have a link on their website. And I know that, I know it was mentioned as well, but they also have their event coming up, and it's going to be different. My understanding, it's on June 2nd. It's going to be a virtual event. They're still going to be accepting donation and big shot raffle tickets, and all that money could potentially go. They've actually already helped a few families that you may have seen in a list that didn't have internet access. And so they're actually helping to support that as well. So just wanted to give a shout out to them. And the last thing, Dr. Chokol sent me information to clarify about the AP exam after she spoke and left, just that it sounds like that they're basically taking the information up until when the school's closed, and that it's going to be an essay format, and our teachers will be providing support to students so that they can, take those exams. So she wanted to just clarify that. Thank you. And I hope everyone, wishing you safe and healthy days, and again, stay home as well. And we appreciate all the trustees and President Berry's leadership to make sure we can do this meeting. And behind the scenes, I just want to say thank you to Eric, Jacob, David, and the team for putting together this, Troy, this ability to have this first ever meeting on the P-12 side. So thank you.
Trustee McDonald, do you have a follow-up comment? Your mic's off.
You're muted.
I can't hear you, Doctor.
Sorry about that. I have a question, and I was reminded of this question when Dr. Maliko mentioned the Ed Foundation donating the internet service to students in need. When I was reading that information, it said that a contract for 6 months had to be signed up for, and that it was going to be reimbursed. I believe it said that 2 months were covered by the Ed Foundation. The whole thing would be, but it just wasn't specific about the last 4 months of that 6-month contract. So I was just wondering about that. Do you understand my question?
Yeah, yes. I'm not 100% on that, but I believe they were doing it so that there wouldn't be cost to the family. Although I will say to you that this is a broader issue that I brought up with the state superintendent. And I've even emailed that we have to look at a way to have, as we go to distance learning and other things across the state, we have to have ways to get more cost-effective, economical ways to get internet access for all of our students. But I believe it is, but to be honest, I'll have to get back to you as to exactly how much, because I don't have it right in front of me right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. I don't see anybody else. Okay.
David has his hand up. Mustonen.
Mr. Mustonen?
Thank you, President Berry. Just to follow up with the internet. So the first 2 months are free, but you have to sign up for a 6-month contract. The foundation was covering the 3rd month because we figured the students would need that 3rd month. Then they could cancel for the remainder of those
3 months.
3 months. That was how it was explained to me by by Chastity from the foundation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That clarifies my question.
Thank you. We started the last meeting last month thanking our teachers and showing them a lot of love and respect. Wow, that was great timing. The teachers stepped up this past month. I don't know what else to say other than just thank you. Other departments this past month, the food service department, the custodians, social workers, our counselors, psychiatrists, our volunteers. We couldn't do anything during the day, passing out the breakfast and lunches without our volunteers. Thank you to our PTA. It wasn't just our PTA. It was many, many people in the community. From what I understand from Nafaila, that there was people reaching out, former students reaching out, wanting to help. There was somebody that didn't live in the city anymore, said, I graduated from Etzel Ford High School and I wanted to help. And we're volunteering. The remainder of my comments go out to the community, and more specifically, to go out to the parents. I don't know what to tell you other than I have full confidence in Dr. Maliko's leadership. He stepped up. I mean, we got hit with the storm second to none. He stepped up to the plate with his team. David Mustonen, thank you. Mr. Troy Patterson, what you three been doing from the get-go, it's just been unbelievable. Can't forget the crisis team in the beginning. I remember Trustee Lane and I sat in one of those teams. Nothing less than spectacular. The amazing work that goes on behind the scene. As a parent, as a grandparent in this district, I can tell you that I am confident in the people's with the leadership that we have at Dearborn Public Schools. Dr. Chokol, Mrs. Peterson, Mrs. Fudge, just amazing. The way everybody just came together I was blown away. So Dr. Malik was saying, "Oh, the Trustee Barry, President Barry, my job was easy. I just had to watch them work, and boy, did they go to work." So I just wanted to make sure that our parents knew what goes on behind the scene. So it wasn't just the food services; it was the Chromebooks. It was the online learning. I mean, we were like steps ahead before the governor even instructed us to put a plan together. We were already doing it. Uh, we know this is real, and I know a couple of my colleagues will agree on this. That anxiety is real, mental health is real. What the community is going through right now, and we're going to be dealing with a lot of things. I know Trustee Lane uh, mentioned that a couple of times in very well thoughtful comments. But I know moving forward there are going to be more issues. And guess what? Again, from the get-go, we provided information. If you need help, our social workers are ready, our counselors are ready. So Dr. Maleko and your team, I am very thankful. I very, very much appreciate all that you have done this past month, and I know that you will continue to do. Okay, let me catch my breath and we'll go to the next item, please.
Requests for information and or future agenda items.
I don't see anybody. Next item, please. Trustee Lane, I'm sorry.
In our board briefs, we had a letter that Mr. Wall forwarded from a transportation provider that wants to be paid, but was not willing to pay their employees. We're all struggling with the difficulties of employees, of small businesses, large businesses. It's all a really difficult time, but I would like to see, Dr. Maleko, we were sent the district's response. I'd like to see the letter from the company asking us for payment when they're not going to be paying their employees. I'd like to see that letter, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Okay.
Anybody else?
And then I would also like to ask for the total, do we have estimates for internet costs also for providing internet coverage? Do we have estimates of what it would cost for our students with the Chromebooks?
Yeah, I mean, for the whole, all the area, we had some pretty high numbers that were given to us. I mean, we're talking in the range of, these are not official bids or anything, but they're some real high numbers that came out, that I don't think school districts can handle. We're talking in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per every few months. So, that's why I brought that up with Dr. Rice at the state superintendent. And then I think through the governor's office and others that's something that we superintendents keep bringing up, that you are going to have to address that issue. And part of it goes back, I can't remember who said our funding system, not working properly. And I think it's a wake up call to Michigan right now, is if we want to provide this kind of education for all of our students, students in some districts are ahead of many others. I think, and you all mentioned it, and I appreciate your comments, Trustee Lane and President Barry and all of you, is that we are far ahead because we always take the lead and we've done what we think we need to do for our students with the Chromebook distributions. But there is a cost to that, and then that online learning is. So we're talking a huge amount. So this is an issue that I think cannot be solved just at the local level. The local level, we will continue to do what we need to do for our students, but it's really a broader state level issue that needs to be solved at the state level if we truly do want to provide equal opportunity of learning for all students when you get into these crises.
Great, thank you. Next item, please.
Future meeting dates. In accordance with the governor's orders, all Dearborn public schools will be closed for the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year. Following the advice of government officials, we are working from home, but we will still be serving our community remotely. We gave earlier contact information, but I'm asked to give it again during the shutdown. General information 313-827-3006 or communications@dearbornschools.org. For the socio-emotional hotline, 313-827-8500 or dss@dearbornschools.org. Technical support from our IT department, 313-827-8400. Special education, 313-827-7050. The next meeting dates will be all virtual. The next meeting date is Monday, April 20th, 2020, HFC meeting, 7:00 PM at the virtual. Monday, May 11th, 2020, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7:00 PM, virtually conducted. Monday, May 18th, 2020, HFC meeting, 7:00 PM, virtually conducted.
That being said, be safe, everyone, and we are adjourned. Thank you.